Welcome everybody to another edition of PonyFans Live. PonyFans Live is brought to you by Lakewood's First and 10, located at the corner of Mockingbird and Abrams in Dallas, and recently named by D Magazine as the best sports bar in Dallas. After SMU beats Marshall on Saturday, please come back to Lakewood's First and 10 for your post-game party at Lakewood's First and 10. Also brought to you by Game Day Cloth. Win or lose, love your team. Visit their store at the corner of Legacy and the Tollway in Plano, or check out GameDayCloth.com for the finest SMU gear anywhere, including new long sleeve gear for the whiteout on Saturday. I don't know if that's on the camera. And also by PonyFans.com, the oldest, largest, and fastest growing website dedicated to SMU Mustangs and Pony fans everywhere. It is Marshall Week. SMU is trying to get bowl eligible this weekend with Marshall, with a game Saturday afternoon against Marshall. And with that in mind, please help me welcome my guests. First guest is the Mustangs starting right tackle, one of the key guys in the effort to keep our second guest in one piece, and to open running lanes for the SMU ground game. Also, the only SMU representative on Sporting News Magazine's all-bowl team last year, right tackle JT Brooks. And coming up after the break, our second guest is climbing quickly through the ranks of SMU quarterbacks. He was the MVP of last year's Hawaii Bowl, thanks in part to JT keeping him in one piece. He is 14th in the country in total offense this year, 11th in the country in passing yards, and tied for 10th with passing touchdowns. He is also tied with some guy named Lance McElhenney for 6th in school history with 33 career touchdown passes, quarterback Kyle Padron. But before we get to Kyle, we're going to start with JT. And offensive line by nature is a fairly anonymous position. Generally, you guys don't get your names called unless there's a penalty involved. But last year, going into the Hawaii Bowl, the experts out there said that one area where they might have an advantage was specifically with you. Yeah. Because you got to go against Dante Mock, who was the Western Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. And you not only kept him off of Kyle's back, you took him completely out of that game. Did you take that as some sort of a personal challenge going into that game?
Yeah, I definitely did. I mean, he was real highly touted going into the game. I knew he was probably one of the fastest defensive ends in the country. I know there's been rumors about him running a 4.18 40 at his pro day. And he was a good DN, and I took it personally that they considered that a matchup they could expose, and really just prepared as hard as I possibly could for that game and put everything I could into it.
Okay, you mentioned his speed, and there were the stories going around that he ran a 4.18.
Yeah.
By comparison, Brian McCann ran the fastest 40 in the country last year at 4.28 with a wind at his back. If there's a defensive end running a 4.18, he's the number one pick today. So that time is a little bit exaggerated, but yeah. How do you approach a guy who's that quick? I mean, because you've faced fast guys before. Jerry Hughes at TCU is very quick. There are a lot of quick defensive ends. Yeah. How do you approach a guy who might not be as big and strong as you, but has an edge in the quickness like that?
I mean, we really, as an offensive line, we don't really change week to week how we prepare for people. You know, don't really adjust if a guy's quick or if a guy's slower and bigger. We do the same thing week to week, so there wasn't really any special preparation to go into going against that guy.
So part of it was also being healthy, though. You had, 24 days off between the Tulane game and Hawaii?
That's huge, yeah, definitely.
All right, tell me a little about your offensive line coach. First of all, Adrian Clem, he's easy to spot on the sideline. Yeah. He's the only one with all the Super Bowl rings, but what's with the sweater vest?
I don't know. I think he likes to stand out a little from the rest of the coaching staff. You know, he doesn't mind having a few eyes on him, and he just likes to, he really approaches it professionally. And I mean, he's always dressed in, I mean, most expensive clothes you can buy going to game day and stuff. And he's takes it seriously, and it shows the way he dresses.
Talk a little about his teaching style, because when he took over as offensive line coach last year, he talked about 7 seconds of chaos.
7 seconds of violence.
7 seconds of violence.
Controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos. He has all these, and he wants to sort of portray his style as a blocker through you guys.
Yeah.
But you work in a practice where you don't hit each other. How does someone teach violence and chaos in a system where you're sort of doing walkthrough drills almost every day?
I mean, I'd say for the most part we do save it for game day kind of, but we get a little time to go, you know, offense versus defense, and pretty much those 10 or 15 plays every practice we do, we're trying to definitely have that seconds of violence every play and just do it on the practice field like you will on game day. But we look at it like we only really get about 30 plays a week to really do it how we're going to do in the game. So go hard then and taper off once you do scout team and walk through and all that.
You talk about the violence and the chaos that goes with the position you play. And 2 weeks ago, you left the game against UTEP early with a concussion. And the way you described it to me was you're sitting on the sideline halfway through the second quarter and you thought the game was about to start.
Yeah.
Does that scare you when someone says, you know, the game's already 25 minutes old and you're realizing there's something going on there?
Yeah, I was a little scary. I mean, came to the sideline and I could have swore that was the opening drive, and I looked up at the scoreboard and it was almost halftime, and I ran up, I don't really remember it that well, but I remember running up to Coach Klum and saying something, and the next thing I knew, they took my helmet away and I was sitting on the bench done for the game.
That's a sign that you're done for the day, right? When they steal your helmet from you?
Definitely.
At that point, do you try to lobby to go back in, or were you aware that you should probably take the rest of the day off?
I was definitely aware of the situation, that it was best that I didn't go back in. I was pretty freaked out, having no memory of the first half really. So yeah, I wasn't really rushing to get back in after, and my short-term memory is kind of messed up too.
Was that your first concussion?
Yeah, that was the first one I've been diagnosed with, I guess.
You know of anyway?
That I know of, yeah.
Injuries obviously are part of the game, but sprained ankles, twisted knees, that kind of thing are very different than when you talk about your head. How is the rehab schedule different? How much more cautious are they when you're talking about something that obviously is important as your head?
They're definitely really cautious. I mean, by about Monday or Tuesday, I felt fine, but they still held me out of practice all week. So I don't know if we would have played. I don't know if they would have let me play either. Luckily, it was a bye week, so it was good timing. But they're very cautious. I mean, I guess you really can't be too careful with that kind of stuff.
But no headaches, no dizziness now? You're ready to go for Marshall?
Oh, no, I'm perfectly fine now.
All right, very good. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by sophomore quarterback Kyle Padron. This is PonyFans Live.